I'm going to start off by talking about things that you 100% should or should not do. These are things that would be requirements for stores if you're uploading packages. And then after that, I'm going to talk about the things that I like to do. And it's more up to you if you want to follow those practices as well. The one most important thing to any package is that it comes in one folder. Unless your package requires some weird Unity workaround and needs to have some other file above that folder, it should only ever have one folder in its root. So for example, here I have the Poyomi folder directly under assets. I do all of my work inside that. So if I import anything else, it's always going to be right here and I'm going to know exactly what I imported. So if I open this and I say, take this Rindo, export a package, minimize this, you're going to see there's only one folder there. If I see any unnecessary folders here, I immediately know that you most likely do not know what you're doing and your product is probably a mess. I don't want to have to deal with your mess and I'm probably going to refund your product. Some of this may come off as a little harsh, and that's because I don't want to have to deal with looking through every single package I download, going through every file, and making sure that it's not going to break my project. I don't want to have to download duplicate shaders, duplicate anything. I just want the package to be what I'm buying, and that's it. Number 2 is going to be, don't right click your prefab and export it like that. You're going to get so much garbage. So if I alt click this, it's going to minimize all of it. And then I'm going to see third party, which includes Dynamic Bones, Turbo Rename, VRC SDK, shaders or Poyomi shaders. And then I have what I actually want, everything in the Rindo folder. So as long as I keep my product organized and I go to the folder that it's in, right click it, export that package, go down to the bottom, do not include dependencies because that's going to do what we did before. And now if I make this minimal, I'm going to show Rindo and it has only the Rindo folder. So try to export the folder that your stuff is in and not the stuff itself. The third thing, and the thing that I actually have to deal with the most, is people including third-party dependencies inside their package. This includes things like scripts and shaders that they did not make. Do not include these in your package directly. There's no reason for you to make packages of them. You got them from somewhere, and so can everyone else. If you want to include them with your product, include the original package inside a zip with your package. Do not repackage shaders. If somebody already has a shader and you put your shader in their project, you're going to break their shader. I cannot count the amount of times users have come up to me and told me my shader broke their package because they downloaded an avatar that had the shader inside it. People who already have my shader would then have 2 of my shader in their project, causing redefinition errors in all of the scripts. If you don't think your users are smart enough to go and find the package themselves, or just install the one that you included with your package, then they're probably not smart enough to go through your package and realize there's duplicate shaders inside it. That covers the must-dos, and now we're going to move on to the more subjective things that I like to do. So this is going to cover organization in your package and what I like to name things and how I like to sort things. You don't need to do this, but if you don't know what to do, this is a good place to start. I'm going to use my Rindo edit as an example. Inside the base Rindo directory, I have a scene and a prefab. I like to include the prefabs and the scene in the root directory because it's the least amount of effort for the user. If they don't have a scene, then you have included one with it that probably has the prefab in it. And if they already have a scene, then they can just drag the prefab into their project and it just works. Past that, I like to keep things that make sense together and things that don't make sense together apart. Anything that's being used for animations, I'm going to put in an animations folder. So we have voice, particles, whatever in here. All of the Avatar 3.0 animations. And then below that, we have FBX. These are just the original model files. Maybe blend files if you want to include those. I would suggest not including blend files in your Unity package because they can cause Unity to hang when it's importing. And then I have materials and textures in a folder together. The reason for this is because I like to rename everything. So if all of my materials start with M underscore and then all of my textures start with T underscore, they're never going to overlap and get mixed together. This is really nice if any user is editing your materials because they can go into the material and then they can just drag the textures directly into it. They don't have to be going through multiple folders and it still stays organized. Another thing I like to do if we zoom out on this is at the end of my materials, I write what shader they're using and that way people can know what to highlight. So if you have multiple shaders, like even if they're still Poyomi shaders, you're not going to be able to work on them together. So if I highlight all of these Poy outlines, I can edit them all at the same time. But if I highlight this Rindo tier, all of a sudden I can't edit anything. And for a user to have to go through each one and see what shader it's using is kind of annoying. I do the same thing for textures, though I would say this is less important. I include normal, albedo, mask, emission, whatever after the name of the texture, just so you know what it is at a glance. It also helps you search for things. Alright, that pretty much covers all of the must-dos and things that I like to do, but I just want to say in the end, how you design your package is really up to you. Just try to actually think about it and don't just upload a package. Think about what you're putting in it and think about how a user is going to get it, maybe even import it into another project and make sure that it doesn't cause a mess. Any thought is better than no thought. If you have any questions about this or anything else that I do, feel free to join the Discord in the description below. I'd be happy to help. As always, I hope you learned something. Thanks for watching.